Welcome to Spotlight, an enterprise distribution of Backstage with a curated set of plugins and integrations to help platform teams create fully automated internal developer platforms. In this video, we'll show you how Spotlight can be used to provision new infrastructure, create new applications, and deploy applications to Kubernetes using a self-service developer portal while leveraging declarative configuration and automation via platform orchestration. Our first steps with Spotlight will begin in the software template catalog. Software templates represent paved roads that platform teams can create to enable self-service, speed, and efficiency for development teams while maintaining the guardrails in place to make sure that these components are safe to deploy to production. You can see that we have a number of out-of-the-box templates in our catalog here, but these are fully customizable and actually stored in a Git repository that allow you to customize it in any way you like. For this demo, let's assume I'm a development team member looking to deploy a new application in a brand new environment. So the very first thing I'm going to do is filter the list here of my templates to infrastructure and select EKS cluster to create a new EKS cluster. I'll give it a name and a region. And given that clusters take about 15 minutes to create, I've already created the cluster through this workflow ahead of this demo, so I'll select dry run now to just preview the changes it would make. In addition to creating the base EKS cluster, add-ons allow us to request additional platform infrastructure and services at the time of provisioning this environment. We will enable ambient, a sidecarless service mesh, to get zero trust security, additional observability, and advanced traffic management in this cluster. We'll also go ahead and add Glue Gateway to provide advanced cloud-native API gateway capabilities as the cluster ingress. These are both installed and configured automatically as part of configuring my environment. Our final step is to provide the location of our manifest registry. The manifest registry plays a central role in the creation of our catalog entries because it reduces everything you do through the UI into declarative configuration that is stored in a Git repository. Our platform orchestration components in the background use that state of the world to drive automated deployment and configuration in your target environments. Let's go ahead and look at that PR that was just opened. We can see here that I've got a new entry for this new cluster all stored in Git. I'll go ahead and merge that pull request, which will kick off our automation to deploy this new cluster. To verify that my cluster has been created, I can navigate to the Spotlight catalog and view the set of resources, which includes the cluster that we just created. I can dig a level deeper and look at the components on that cluster, and we see that both Glue Gateway and Istio Ambient Mesh have been installed. As a developer, if I'm looking to understand what APIs are exposed by these components, I can always view those APIs in the software catalog directly. I also have the ability, both as a platform team member and as a development team member, to look at detailed Grafana dashboards for each component. So if I view Istio, I can go directly to the Istio dashboard. If I have questions about performance or availability in that environment, all of that is available here through one click. Now that I have a new environment provisioned, let's go about creating my application. I'll return to the software template catalog and filter by development to create a new React application. I'll give my app a name and description, also assign team ownership, so when this software is referenced in the catalog, both platform teams and other development teams know who is responsible for the app, and then give some contextual data that allows me to associate with this application at deployment time. Next, I have the option of providing any application-specific monitoring that I'll skip for now. And then I go ahead and provide the location of the GitHub repository where I want this application to be created. Review looks good. And at this point, we not only create the GitHub repository, but we automatically add this entry to the catalog and create automated workflows for building the source into a container image in that GitHub repository. So first, let's check this application out in our catalog. And if I go to the CI/CD panel, we can see that, yes, the initial commit, and it's already been built, and this application is deployment ready from the very beginning. But wait a minute, I actually want to make some changes here to the app before I go ahead and do that. So let me go back to the overview page, view the source in GitHub. And in this case, I'm going to use GitHub as my editor and simply open up the app.js. We'll select edit and we'll say, hello, Spotlight. Once I commit these changes, I should be able to go back to my component, view CI/CD, and if I refresh here, I should see that another build has kicked off. And yes, updating the app.js is already in progress. All right, now that I'm deploy ready from main, let's return back to our template catalog and get ready to deploy this application. I'll go ahead and look at the deployment category, and I can select deploy app to Kubernetes to select really any application I want to deploy to Kubernetes. In this case, obviously the application we've just created and built. Okay, we'll provide a name of the app and the namespace to deploy to, along with the container image. I will specify the port that this app listens on, and then of course the cluster that I'm deploying to. I now have the choice to secure this service with east-west traffic policies using Istio, or exposing it through the gateway. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and expose it through the gateway so that clients outside the cluster can invoke it. I'll go ahead and configure the routes to that particular service, which will be the route path, and then the port on that backing service. Again, I have the option to enable platform level metrics at the time of deployment. I'm going to go ahead and skip that for now. And then finally, I'm going to provide the location to the manifest registry. This is the exact same registry where my actual cluster was added. Here, all the application related artifacts that I'm deploying will be recorded in the exact same registry. Go ahead and click review and then create, and we are off to the races. The result of this step is an actual pull request being opened to the GitHub repository with our manifest registry. So let's check that out now. And if we look at the files in this pull request, we can see that it's got the complete definition from a Kubernetes perspective of the service and deployment and everything that this application will need to be deployed. It also contains the configuration for Glue Gateway, the Kubernetes Gateway API route, to route traffic to my application. But at this point, nothing's been deployed yet. Let me navigate back to the PR. I'll go ahead and merge this pull request. And once this merges, Argo is going to pick this up and automatically deploy all of the configuration and application metadata to my target cluster. So let's go back to Spotlight and check out the component page for my app to see if it has been deployed. All right, so let's navigate to Key3 React app, and we should see in our Argo CD overview, absolutely, it's been synced and actually deployed. If I go to the Kubernetes tab, we can see that the actual deployment has been successful. The pod is up and running. In addition, our gateway has been configured with the HTTP route. All right, the final step to test our deployment is to navigate to the actual gateway, find out what the ingress address is for my gateway instance, which we can find here. And if we visit this page, we see Hello Spotlight. And that's it for the demo. Hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about Spotlight. If you'd like to learn more, visit us on the web at solo.io/spotlight.